So let's go ahead and look into examples of what exactly probability is. If an event E has n of E equally likely outcomes and its sample S has n of S equally likely outcomes, the theoretical probability of the event E is denoted by P of E. So if I have an event, it could be any event, tossing a coin, rolling a dice, picking a card from deck of cards. The way you represent is P of E. That means probability of that event. So P of E is equal to the number of outcomes of the event. So the number of outcomes of the event divided by the number of possible outcomes. So this will make much more sense once we start doing the problem. So let's go ahead and dive into problem number 1. A die is rolled once. So you're rolling it once. Find the probability of rolling a 3. So here I have given you all the possible outcomes. You roll a die, you can get a 1, you can get a 2, you can get a 3, you can get a 4, you can get a 5, or you can get a 6, right? So now probability of rolling a 3 is every time you calculate your probability, you have to start with the sample space, which is what are my possible outcomes? I can get a 1, I can get a 2, I can get a 3, I can get a 4, I can get a 5, I can get a 6. So my sample space is 6. What am I looking for? I'm looking for a 3. How many 3s do I have here? I have only one way of getting a 3, that is 1. So the probability is 1 over 3. Now, let me go ahead and erase this and show you the next one. An even number. So probability of getting an even number. Or you can simply say probability of E, which is your event, and the event is nothing but getting an even number. So let's go ahead and look at it. Remember what I told you? You always start with your sample space. You're rolling a dice. What can happen? You can get a 1, you can get a 2, you can get a 3, you can get a 4, you can get a 5, you can get a 6. So how many possible outcomes you have? 6. And wait a minute, how many even numbers do you have? 1, 2, and 3. So there are 3 even numbers. 3 over 6, final answer is 1 over 2 is your probability. Okay, so you always start with your sample space. That means what are your possible outcomes? And how many even numbers do you have? Okay? All right. Let's look at the next one. A 14-sided die is rolled. Find the probability of rolling a number less than 8. So now because I cannot draw a 14-sided dice, I'm going to go ahead and write down what all numbers do I have in the dice. I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Remember, it's a 14-sided dice. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for probability of a number less than 8. Less than 8. Remember what do I do? You always start with your sample space. Sample space is how many possible outcomes can I have? When I'm rolling a 14-sided dice, I can have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So my sample space is 14. Do you see that? And now what am I looking for? I'm looking for a number less than 8. Let me see how many numbers they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I cannot pick 8 because 8 is not less than 8. So it is 7 over 14, which is again 1 over 2.